Hi everyone, my name's Ali.
I'm Thomas.
We're from Brickspace Lab.
And today we're doing a video on
What is making your website look basic?
basic.
We have 15 things for you to review.
Thing number
First,
one.
Fonts.
Your site is going to look a little bit more basic when you're using just the out-of-the-box fonts that come default to your Shopify theme. And if you go a step further, use a custom font that is maybe more fitting for your brand, that's going to be a step above to bring your site more unique visual language.
Now, that's not saying you have to get a custom crazy font. It just means like using maybe Helvetica or Arial. I know a lot of people do use Dawn when they're starting their Shopify website, and they become super easy to spot. And you want your website to stand out. Mm-hmm. So changing the font is a very easy way to make a difference.
Mm-hmm. I think at the very least, having an impactful heading font. Mm-hmm. Like maybe the body font can stay the same, it's whatever, but put a bit of flavor in it.
Yeah. Find a font that kind of speaks to your brand, that's easy to read. I think that's what gets me, is that the heading and body font are the same when you download Dawn right away, and there's just no pizzazz.
Yeah.
Color combos.
A
big thing that I see, clashing colors.
Clashing in
a bad way. I'm not talking pattern clashing, which I am a fan of. I'm talking the most saturated default version of any color. Like you go to hex code, you write orange, and then you go to the hex code, you've got blue. And I've seen so many bright blue and bright orange websites. None of them look good, unfortunately.
So what is your suggestion for sites like that?
My suggestion is go on the website colors.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good if you're either generating a palette or maybe you have the colors in mind and you're looking to rebrand into something a little bit more palatable.
Find the colors that work together.
Yes, you can use the color generator. If there's a color that you really love, you can pop that in the hex code into colors and then look through the shade range.
Yeah.
Maybe find something a little bit more subdued or a little bit darker, subdued on either end. You could have something lighter or darker that will just up the contrast, up the feeling of the color, and not be so jarring. Now, if you're starting from scratch, colors is a great way to generate palettes and get ideas. I love using that color generator, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Also, in the realm of colors, we wrote down accessibility. Mm-hmm. So that is adding colors that have enough contrast where you can actually see the things. Obviously, if you have white text on a yellow background, you're going to have a hard time reading that. Just keep that in mind, especially when you're designing your website, and make sure you have body or text color that contrasts the background it's going to be on.
There are great free web accessibility color checkers. We'll link that somewhere as well. I'm sure we'll have a few resources in the description. But yeah, I think that's those kind of garish colorways. I can see where people are coming from, perhaps. But I think what happens oftentimes when you find people have these god-awful colors together, no offense, oftentimes they're not accessible either, because it's so exciting to go into the theme designer and be oh my god, I love this color.
Yeah,
oh my god,
and then you just pick 5 different colors that you really like, all separate, and then how do they work together? Not only that, you're picking the color scheme, pick these 4 colors, and then sure, those colors might look good in there, but how does it actually look on the website?
Exactly. And so that's where it's good to have a very simple light background, dark text color, or dark text, light background.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be black and white.
No.
You could do a light green and a dark green, or there's so many different options that you can do. But
I'd say as a general rule, or maybe guideline, definitely have a light body color, a dark text color, maybe one branded color, like your blue or your orange or whatever, and then some accents.
Yes.
If that, you could get away with one branded color, light background, and dark text.
You can get away with it.
That's
3
3
colors.
It's very simple.
You don't have to complicate it.
No.
You just simply don't. 3, photography. Now this is where a lot of people get into trouble, I think. This section is one of the harder things to fix, I'll be honest. A lot of these other topics that we're going to talk through are low-hanging fruit. Like, if you have these things on your website, that is totally fine. We are not here to judge your artistic vision, but the photography, it's probably one of the most, if not the most important thing on your website. True. AliExpress photos or any drop shipping photography is going to look the same.
When they just like take the photo right from the website, I'd say that's like, to me, a red flag, or maybe not a red flag, but it looks really bad when that photo has like a background color, even if it's a white background color, and then your website has a different background color, and then it just like looks really off. Not always, but
I think a good thing to do, and we'll get into this for the others as well, is use a background remover tool.
Yeah.
And just have the image floating. Now, with that being said too, I think a good thing to do is actually order the products that you're selling and take those photos yourself. Yeah. Because there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of drop shipping websites selling the same thing that you are. Yeah. You need to actually sell the product. Yeah. And people will know, okay, this person is just drop shipping.
Yeah, it's copy pasted.
Now, if they see actual users using it, you've done an actual photo shoot with the product.
And you have it like with models or whatever yourself, or people using it. Yeah, that's huge.
It makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
Another thing that often happens with those style of photos, and I've seen it with like actual not dropship products, is text on the images. That content should be on the product page, easily findable, easily accessible, and in text.
So it's search engine friendly.
Yeah, and it's easier for people to highlight and read. Like, a lot of people highlight as they read, or just honestly, it just makes it a more accessible experience. Obviously, there are totally reasons that are valid to just put the text on the images, but I find oftentimes I've been on websites where they have a hover, like a second image hover, and you hover over it, and then an image with the text appears. It doesn't look polished at all.
That's the thing. Like, if you're going to do that, definitely try and match the text you're uploading on the image to the rest of your site, because it definitely looks really off when you like do that. You have the text on your website, and then you have like this photo you upload and has text on it. It's like different font, different colors, and it's like, whoa.
Third thing, photos done without any consistency. I see this a lot with like smaller businesses that maybe are retail, like brick and mortar first. And oftentimes what happens is you get a product, you take a photo really quickly and throw it up on the website. Yeah. And suddenly you've got this catalog full of products that have no consistency, because you took this photo on a sunny day in front of one wall, you took the second photo on a rainy day on a different wall. Or sometimes what happens too is like the photos are just like pieces of clothing hanging and it's kind of on a distracting background. To me, I'd rather have all of those photos without a background. You can use background removers. They often do cost money, but it's a lot quicker than photoshopping. That's just what I would do, at least for the first product image.
To add to that point about photo consistency, at the bare minimum, upload all your product photos with the same aspect ratio.
Yes.
That's huge, because if you're taking a photo and maybe you're uploading your t-shirt product in like square, and then you have 2 square photos and then like 1 portrait photo, and then maybe that's in a gallery or a grid, it's gonna look really wonky when it's 2 squares and then a long rectangle.
And we see that all of the time.
Decide on what you want your photos to look like, square or something else.
Portrait or landscape.
Shoot all your products in that same aspect ratio, upload them in that same aspect ratio.
Even if you don't shoot them in that aspect ratio, crop them.
Yeah.
That's a really easy way to make your website go from like, what the hell am I looking at, to like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's like, symmetry, it's all aligned.
Now that is an easy photography win. If you do nothing,
do that.
Yeah, I'm passionate about that. You just got me riled up because that does drive me up the wall. It drives me cuckoo. Okay. Header, section 4. Headers are the first thing people see when they get on your website. It sets the tone for their shopping experience. I see so many main menus that go on forever.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So the header is the first thing people see. We have seen so many menus go on forever. That makes your website look very basic and unthought out. It looks like you had a product and then you were like, oh yeah, let's add this section. Oh, we've got new arrivals. Oh, let's do this. Oh, we've got a new line. Let's add this. Suddenly,
it's like
3 lines.
It's like shop patterns, like clothing, top, bottoms. Like if you have a lot of products, obviously showcase them. But I think to your point, it's like take all your things and you have to go through like a sorting process and come up with like clear categories to organize those menu items. Like it can't be everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to the point where you have so many things that your design's like stacked. Like you have like 2 or 3 rows of menus.
Long menu titles as well.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some very long ones, so it automatically starts stacking.
Yeah, and it's like there are some layouts that you can have long menus, but if it's just like a top bar and the links are just horizontal and then you go across the entire row and then it's onto a second row,
that's a red flag.
That's way too much. You need to slow down,
pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And do some information architecture. So that's where you take all of your collection titles, all of your collection kinds, all your products and sit down and be like, how can we organize this?
Yes.
And start grouping things into different categories. And you'll find probably 9 times out of 10, you can at least be utilizing drop downs for a lot of those categories. And that kind of leads me into this second point, which will be a segue into our next category, which is logos. To me, a very basic website is one of those big logos in the middle of your main menu that pushes down all of the content.
Yeah.
And then I'll see like 3 lines of text. So my first view of your website is a header that takes up this much space.
It's just this much space.
This much space.
I mean, I definitely think
so many times logos are designed for storefronts,
brick
and mortar, painting it on a window, which is great, but you can't, I mean, again, you can do whatever you want. You shouldn't, in my opinion, have a big, fat, juicy logo right in the middle, taking up valuable space where people could be buying things.
Especially if you have that many menu links. Choose one. If you want to have a big, impactful logo, do that. But you can't also have 4 lines of menu and a big, impactful logo.
You got to choose your struggle.
You have to choose one there. If you have a big logo like that in your header design, just have one button, menu.
I feel like there's different ways that you could do that where it's like you land and it's just like the logo and you don't even have a banner. There are different ways, but we can now move into section 5, which is logos. And we have logos that don't fit in the header. So that means either they've got a background color or they're not sized correctly. So background color means like you've uploaded it. It's not a transparent image. So you've got like a white square around your logo and then the header section is like pink.
That is such an easy fix and will make such an impact.
Huge.
Like upload your logo with a transparent background and crop it to the size of the logo, because sometimes you'll upload the logo and it'll be like this rectangle and the logo is actually only this one part in that rectangle, and then that's going to shift the whole layout in your header.
And your logo's going to look teeny tiny.
Yeah, your logo's going to look teeny tiny. So normally most Shopify themes are designed so there will be like padding already set up around that image. So upload it already cropped. Already cropped, transparent image, and then see what that looks like.
And the other thing too is sometimes people have their logo too big. So it's cropped on either side. So check out your theme's documentation to figure out what the recommended size is for a logo. Oftentimes it will say it in the theme editor. If it doesn't, I'm sure it's somewhere. You can optimize your logo, and it's such an easy win. If you have to use a background remover, do that. But oftentimes if you've gone with a designer or even on like Canva, you can remove the background and just download it as a PNG. And you won't have the background. So that's a huge win. Next, no favicon.
What is a favicon?
A favicon is the tiny little image you see when you have a tab open. It's such a subtle hint of branding. It often gets overlooked, but it's an easy win. Oftentimes you can just take your logo and like do a smaller version of it, or if you have maybe a logo mark, pop that in there. A logo mark is just like either like an image that you have that represents your brand, or just like the first letter of your brand.
Versus like the logo type where it would be
the full
X. There's different kinds of logos.
Yeah, but that's a quick win, and it polishes off the website.
I agree. Also, go in and upload a social sharing image. If you don't, when you copy your website URL and like share it on Facebook or send your link to someone, and there's that image that pops up, you can actually upload a custom one. So it's not just pulling in a random image that isn't formatted, isn't cropped. So upload one.
That's a very quick one too.
People are sharing your website. It gets sent to different links and things, and that's what your brand looks like when it gets shared. So
just like a random product image. 9 times out of 10, and it looks whack.
It looks ugly. So upload something that doesn't look ugly.
Section 6. Products. So here is one of my big pet peeves. Long titles that are used for SEO, but it just ends up looking like you've pulled the product title from Temu. Women's shoes, size 8, glitter color, compatible with foot, compatible with
other feet, left foot and right foot, included rubber insole. Like it has everything, all the information in the title and more.
More so now.
Yeah, not needed.
No, and I've seen more subtle versions of this, and we have referenced it in other videos, like Exo McKenna's, for instance. It was like willow, non-toxic candle.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you can use meta fields to highlight that information elsewhere. You can use it in the product description. There's a ton of other places that you can put it. That's still great for SEO, but won't take up a ton of that real estate.
I feel like there's a branding component to having like a cool title to your product, like the willow candle versus like non-toxic green super 6-ounce candle.
It makes it more basic for sure.
It's like, okay, like that's the product you're describing. What's the title? What's it called? Like this is your brand. Like it's a thing.
You want it to be like, oh, it's the
PlayStation 4, not the 32-ounce video gaming console in white.
It's the PlayStation. We're buying the PlayStation.
Yeah. Names are cool. Give your things a name, not just a description in the title.
That's a quick win too. Another thing I see often is random one-off products. There will be stores that sell kitchen stuff, for instance. So it's all kitchen things. I could buy my pots and pans, and then suddenly there's a skateboard on there. Why? What is the correlation?
Yeah, that's definitely happens more with the drop shippers.
Yes.
And to that point, I would say that is just generally pick a lane. Find your niche. You don't need to sell everything. If you want to sell other things, start a different website, or seriously reconsider. I don't know how well the everything store does for everyone, but
that being said, like with other brands, like if you are trying to diversify your niche, again, just go with something that is actually relevant to you. I know I've seen a lot of meditation mats or something where they might sell
a candle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, that makes sense because I'm meditating, I'll have a candle, I'll buy incense. To me, that makes sense. But whenever it's like, oh, and you also sell
soap.
Because soap it's a farther stretch.
Yeah. That also goes to our other points earlier, like having like consistent product photos. Like if you have like all these candles and they're all like from this one candle manufacturer, they're all photographed this one way, and then you have
a potato masher.
Then you have a potato masher and it is not photographed the same way, uploaded completely different, and it looks like someone hacked into your website and uploaded a potato masher. So
that is funny. You know, we did notice this too was on the YouTubers' websites, because they were selling their home decor, but then all of a sudden you'd click merch and it's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
And like I get it, but like maybe have a different website to sell your merch, or like a subdomain. I don't know, but that to me, I get it, but it's like, okay, Mr. Kate, you're selling bed frames, you're selling wallpaper,
and then you're selling like
a baby onesie,
like a yay LMAO onesie,
like girl, there's got to be a different way to do that.
That devalues both part of
yes, it does.
The brand. The merch doesn't belong with the bed frames.
It just doesn't.
I mean,
maybe it does.
Maybe it does. I don't know.
Who am I? Section 7. Just all around general things.
First up,
massive walls of text, zero formatting.
Do you mean like if you have body text and it goes like all the way from one side to the other and it's like
boom, 4
boom,
paragraphs?
Boom, 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 boom. Like, yeah.
I'm not reading that.
If you have a lot of text, you can't have it go from edge to edge on a desktop screen. Like, you need to have some margin to make it more readable.
But I even think if you are doing like 3 to 4 paragraphs, regardless of edge to edge, that needs to be broken up in a different way. Blog articles, that's a totally different thing because you're expecting that content. Yeah. But whenever I land on your homepage, maybe do a link to an Our Story page where you have a lot more flexibility with having a wall of text. But I think on your homepage, it's just a waste of real estate.
I think for the most part, people are going to be going to your website and scanning things. They're not reading top to bottom. They're scrolling and they're like, oh, what's this? Mm-hmm. What's this heading? I'm going to read that thing, keep scrolling. I'm leaving. That's it. I mean, I think it's a good idea to take some of that body text, especially on a homepage, and like break it out into bullet points.
That's what I mean.
If you have a thing and it's talking about how cool your products are, and you have to maybe read 2 sentences to get to like a juicy bit, you could just bullet point it, like made in Canada, sustainably crafted, toxic, non-toxic.
Toxic?
Toxic, super
non-toxic. Super toxic, super toxic.
You take 2 paragraphs and just crunch it into 3 bullet points, and then people like, oh, boom, boom, boom.
Like, this isn't a essay with a word. Yeah. Like, you don't need to be hitting a word count. If there is stuff that is super interesting, people will look for it.
Yeah.
But it's overwhelming to see a wall of text. A lot of people just say, no, okay, this is a big one for me, and you've heard me complain about it in other videos. Too many pop-ups and pop-up games. We've had it. Okay.
That's a pop-up.
That's a pop-up. I have had it, especially since cookies. Mm-hmm. Like, cookies are now required and mandatory things for most websites. Yeah. I'm already getting a bar right away. When I land on your website, the last thing I want to see is a pop-up for the newsletter and then a pop-up for a game. One of those spinning wheels.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me those things, let me be on your website for a little bit longer, because I've already had to click off the cookies. I've already had to wait for the website to load.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I know a lot of those things work. It makes sense to grow your email audience, grow your list, but just wait a little bit. Like,
that's it.
You're going to find if you're filtering that down a bit, your email list is going to be more impactful. Like, rather than getting every single email you can, like, wait until you're getting the emails from people who land on a product page versus just your homepage, or maybe wait until those people have been on your website for 30 seconds.
Because that's going to be people who are more likely to convert anyway. So it's going to be actual like customers instead of tire kickers. If a customer lands on your website and there's a wall of pop-ups, and oftentimes there's a live chat and that they don't even know what you're selling because they have to like literally machete through the weeds.
Yeah, and then they just want to find out what is blah blah blah.com.
And suddenly you're just like going through pop-ups.
They're like, here, take this. Do you want
discount.
Like,
spin the wheel. Like, it's just, you have to pace those things out, and you're going to get actual impactful.
I would picture that as imagine walking into a retail store.
No, I can't even fathom this because
this is a real life example of those pop-ups. You walk in and you're just browsing.
Have you been into Bath and Body Works?
You just want to take a look at the pots and pans, and someone comes up. They say, hi, do you want to sign up to our newsletter? You can get 10% off your first thing. Say, no, I'm just
browsing.
I'm just browsing. And then someone else walks up and they're holding a spinning wheel. Spin our wheel. Sign up. And then someone else comes up. He's like, do you need help?
And then by that point, I'm like, I'm gone. Yeah. I'm not going to be dealing with these people.
Give me some space.
Yeah. It's a big, oh no. I did go to Bath and Body Works. I went to the mall 2 weeks ago in person for the first time on a Saturday in years.
Jeez.
And that is nightmare territory. I'm sure other people love it. I don't. But yeah, I went into Bath and Body Works and I was accosted by the workers. Maybe I did want a 3-wick candle. I wasn't going to buy one.
Yeah.
After that. So sorry to Bath and Body Works. It had me feeling like Angela the Candle Lady. Now, I can digress here a little bit. In 2013 or 2014, I was living with my roommate, Michelle, and she was on the hunt for a Vanilla Bean Noel candle.
Are we?
I just need to put this in quickly in case she sees it. All I'm saying is that I found that video because I was so amazed with Michelle's tenacity at finding this Vanilla Bean Noel and calling all the stores that I searched on YouTube and found why I am boycotting Bath and Body Works. It had 200 views. It had been uploaded for a while, and I posted it to Tumblr and it went viral. So I just had to get that off my chest because I feel like Angela needs to know. Anyways, okay, so the last thing, ironically, no focus in general. I didn't even do that on purpose. I literally did that. I did not do that on purpose. Okay, no focus in general.
I feel like we've already kind of talked about this. You want the whole website visually, the copy, the branding, the visual, the photography, the products you're selling, all to tell a story together.
It's that simple. Yeah. This is the story. This is your website.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, let us know if you have any questions. Check out our theme paper in the Shopify theme store.
Yeah. And
we have a new theme called Space in the works.
More than in the works, it's in review right now.
Review, baby.
Shopify theme store soon.
We don't have a time.
Don't have a time, but you go to our website, sign up for the waitlist, subscribe, whatever, leave a comment, whatever, or unfollow us, follow us, do whatever you want.
Goodbye.
See ya.